Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. And in today's episode, I'm joined with Luke, and today we're going to be sharing our journeys and Luke's journey as well. With autism, we're going to be speaking about hobbies as well. So it's going to be a really cool episode to the series, Autistic Assemble. So, Luke, thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, it's gonna be really fun to talk to you. Yeah, I'm glad that you wanted to come on. So I guess how we started, if you don't mind just doing a little introduction of yourself.
Yeah, I am Luke Poulton, and yes, I'm autistic. And then with being online, I create sketches about autism. I also do stand-up comedy, so my stand-up comedies about autism. And yeah, that's my main things that I do.
Yeah, you've got to have a bit of a laugh sometimes, haven't you?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah. Some parts are serious, but at the same time, you've got to have a little joke.
Definitely. It's nice to be able to do that because I've always sort of with comedy, it's finding even if you can find things that weren't great in life, you can still try and write jokes about them and find your way of coping with them.
Yeah, it's always a good kind of thing to do, I guess. Um, like
Yeah,
like um,
definitely.
like do you do that quite a lot then? Like your comedy?
Yeah. Stand-up comedy. Well, I've been doing it for it will be 6 years. I've been doing it for, and yeah, it's been really great to do. From doing stand-up comedy, I've been able to do a lot of talks as well because people see me do stand-up comedy and said, "Could you come do a talk about autism at our workplace?" And that. So yeah, it's been really great being able to do stand-up comedy.
Yeah. It's good. Like you say, if you do talk about autism, you could even add like a few maybe jokes that you do from your stand up and stuff. So it's a good mix.
It's just what I found. Even when I'm doing talks, I find it easier to be able to tell jokes. So even if I am talking about something serious, it's good to have jokes in there every now and again as well.
Yeah, yeah. I completely agree. Like there's I guess you have to be serious sometimes, but like if you're having a bad day, have a joke.
Yeah,
Yeah,
always makes it better.
definitely. So yeah, that is really fun. Um, like, do you? So, when was you diagnosed, Luke?
So I was diagnosed at 7 years old. It was when I was in primary school. My parents they noticed a few things, but it wasn't until someone, a teaching assistant in school, sort of saw how I was in class and that, and said to my parents, "I think Luke might be autistic," and then that's when my parents decided to take me to go and get diagnosed.
Yeah, it's quite a similar age to me. So I was 9. Um, and it was the same. Like my parents noticed something. Like was wrong, or I think it was more with maybe I guess how I was, and like when you're young, you have like the car mat and like all the cars, and like what I did is I would line all the colours up, all the blue cars, all the green cars, all the yellow cars, um, in rows. And I guess I wondered why I do that. Why can't you put a red car to a green car?
Yeah, I think my parents. I think it was also my parents saw how I would if I would really get into a subject as well, how I would react to that, and I think it's just I think with when I was in class, there was the reason the teaching assistant said is because there were some things where I couldn't concentrate. I was quite fidgety in class as well, and want to be doing my own thing and not learning about
Mm.
the lesson. So that's one of the big things.
Yeah, I was the same where if someone does that, you know when you're in class and maybe a teacher says you've got to be silent for like 10 minutes of work because the class is so noisy. And I knew as soon as I said that it's not going to be quiet because you told them to be quiet.
Yeah,
Um, and every time that happens, like maybe someone will say something to me, and the teacher still expect you to be quiet because which I found really hard because I don't want to ignore them. Just being nice.
yeah, I completely get you there.
Yeah, but yeah, I completely get that. So with would you say with like maybe with you like if you're on, do you have quite a lot of interest or do you stick to a few? Like how are you with like interest?
I'd say for me, my interests they change quite often, but there are always my ones that I've always been interested in and sort of never change. But if there's something like a something that I get into, um, I will start researching it so much and want to go and find all things about it straight away. But yeah, there's always the same sort of there is things that have always been my interest throughout my whole life as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like I'm the same. Like I guess you do new things as your life goes on. So like maybe if you like TV and there's a series on at the moment and then and then the thing about I like it when a series is maybe on weekly, but I do like it when it all is out at once as well. But the thing is when it's all out at once, you have to wait sometimes maybe a year or two for the next one to come out.
Yeah, that's the only annoying thing because it's when you see it when it's done weekly a lot of the time, which is good with that is that they do it weekly and then you might get more episodes in I don't know 7 months time, so you're not waiting having to wait a whole. You have to wait a little bit, but it's still quite quick the way
Yeah.
stuff does get put out now.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that had that like Netflix, for example, it does that quite a lot on Netflix, um, which it's I don't mind it because you just binge watch it, and there's so much things on there, isn't there, that you can just watch, if one thing's finished, and then you'll forget a series that you've watched before probably because you're watching another one.
Yeah, Netflix is very good for finding all the things that I like and be able to binge watch them.
Yeah, definitely. Um, But yeah. So like at the moment, like they got the Last of Us series on, which I like because it's weekly.
Yeah, no, that's because The Last of Us is that's one of my favorite computer games. So it's been really good to
Yeah,
see a TV series of that finally happening and feeling like they've actually got it right. And I've been spotting all the little things from the games as well
yeah,
in the show.
yeah. The games were really good, weren't they?
They were brilliant.
Yeah. Like do you have a but like because there's two games, like did you have a favorite game or do you just like them both?
Yeah, I like them both. I think I liked the second one a little bit more just because there was a few. It felt a bit bigger with
Yeah.
things that it does. But I do think playing the first one, I played that back when I was in uni, and I remember I started playing it about 3 p.m. In the afternoon, and I stayed on it until 3 a.m. because I just got so into it.
Yeah. I like games like that. I like story games where they released like maybe like the first one that came out in 2013, I think. Um, and then they released like a more better graphic one, didn't they? Like
Yeah,
a couple years ago. Where I think it's good when you play a game and you haven't played it for maybe for years, and you go back to it, you kind of forget what's happened a little
yeah,
bit.
that's always fun. That was the good thing about because when they were about to release the second game, I decided to go back to the first game
Mm.
and play it all over again. And it's just good to have those memories of
Yeah,
playing it the
yeah.
first time.
I think when I played the first game, I was stuck so long on the bit where like it is in the series like I think the last episode where they were in the they had to be really quiet from the clickers.
Oh
Um
yeah.
yeah, and in the game that was so hard. That was
The museum bit is very very hard
yeah,
in the game.
yeah, like it's not as easy as it was in the series there.
No, because I think within the in the game, I think you had probably about 8 clickers at one point, and they were just sort of just walking down corridors,
Yeah.
and you had to be hiding behind stuff to not knock into them.
Yeah, and I think you had to wear they wore masks as well in the game at that point. And I remember playing it and I was struggling so much how to get out. And then I realized you got to get out the scene and I was struggling on that bit, um but I'd done it just before the second game come out, so I did it. Um
That's that's good then.
yeah. But yeah, I've never watched a game like a series so far that's really good compared to the game.
I'm glad they've got so much of it right,
Yeah.
and it doesn't feel that they've done it in a wrong way or anything. It feels really well done.
The good thing about these kind of things, like if they do a series like they have with The Last of Us, is what they can do is adapt it like they have like you've seen things that they've done differently already, and similar things, which I like because like there's some bits in the game where like if they do multiple series of The Last of Us, which is going to be interesting to see if they do. If it's going to be like a thing where it's a lot last long a long running series or something.
Yeah, I just wonder how they're gonna if they're gonna do stuff from the second game in this, or if it's just gonna all be stuff from the first game in this first season. It'll be
Yeah,
interesting to see.
yeah, it could be very interesting to see what happens and everything, I think. But one thing I would love them to change in the series is like from the second game, if they did like if like the events of what happened to Joel, if that happened in the second game, I'd like them to do that a little bit differently.
Yeah.
um, like I don't mind what happened in the game. Like in my opinion, I don't dislike the second game for that because I loved it. Or it like you say, it felt longer and stuff like that. The only thing I would change is like if you're gonna kill Joel off differently. How that
Yeah,
was
definitely.
like getting hit by a clicker or something. Just something more. Like, get hit by a chair.
It was a lot to see that in the game.
Yeah,
So no wonder what they will do with the series.
yeah. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. But I think the characters that are playing the characters from the game are doing really well.
Yeah, they are very good.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I just think interests link in well with autism. Like I think. Do you agree, Luke? Like
Yeah,
interests. Yeah.
definitely agree on that. Yeah,
Yeah, because like it could be anything really. Like because I guess you find lots of people within the autistic community that have similar interests, like we found about Last of Us with us. But like it can be anything. Like it could be I don't know. Like just I guess an interest is like raising awareness for like autism, like you do, like with humor as well. I think it's just like a fun thing to do because I guess it takes a while to guess for us to accept it in the first place. Like getting diagnosed really young as well.
yeah, definitely. Because I've there's a lot of my friends now that have been diagnosed sort of in their 20s and 30s,
Yeah,
that have sort of said because they didn't really know about themselves for a lot of their life, and I think that's been the one sort of thing about being diagnosed when you're younger is that I think if I hadn't been diagnosed when I was younger, I would have been confused for a lot of my life. So that was one thing that helped me sort of understand myself a lot more being diagnosed so young. And then with friends now, like it's good to be able to speak to them about that when they've been diagnosed and sort of them sort of just trying to understand themselves and me being able to speak to them about it as well.
definitely, definitely. I find that more often that when I was diagnosed, like like a while ago, let's say, um, um, a lot of people my age did get diagnosed around my age. And now, like you say, you got more people maybe in their 30s or bit later on, a bit older now. I find a lot of people a bit older than maybe 8 or 9 or 7 get diagnosed more that age range now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's I think with a lot of people that well, like in their 20s and 30s now, annoyingly they have to, it's a long waiting list now for a lot of people. But I think with kids now it can be easier because it seems like when I was younger there was things there, but it seems like there's a lot more facilities now with helping diagnose kids a lot earlier on.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard, isn't it? Because I guess because I guess people get diagnosed later on in life, maybe they feel because they might not get as much support as they maybe people would when they are diagnosed young, because like especially like maybe with education, because I think with education it kind of helps when you have an autistic diagnosis and maybe get support and everything, but it doesn't always work. So it's I guess it depends how it goes. Like how was your like education and stuff, Luke?
Yeah, it was for me. I did have like a teaching assistant or a teaching helper in class as well, so that would sit next to me and help me in school. So that was one thing. Um, that did help a lot in school. And my parents after school would take me to sort of speak to this person as well. So I did have the things there. And then when I was in university as well, there was people there that were from an autism charity that would come. They were sort of like mentors, so they would come along and meet you once a week to speak over the uni work. So yeah, I think it was school and university were helpful with sort of the facilities that I was able to find.
Yeah, yeah. It's good when you get the support that you need, because it's hard to find. Like I guess as we say, like we kind of like it's hard at first, but I guess when you're diagnosed, because you kind of at that age you don't know what's going on, do you? Like between the 7 and 9, and then like it's hard to remember as well. Is it?
It definitely, yeah, it definitely is. I think I remember more of my teenage years than I remember some stuff from when I was a kid, but I think I remember more of, sort of how I was when I was a teenager.
Yeah. Like I remember in primary school that there was a fountain that everyone went to for drink. Like I remember that, like, but little. I remember that. I guess it was hard for people to understand me because I like when I was younger, I wouldn't. I guess I find it hard to start a conversation or even speak to maybe a new person. Um, than maybe now when got more confidence. I didn't really have confidence when I was younger.
Yeah, no, I was exactly the same. I think I sort of just kept myself more to myself when I was in school. I did speak to people, but I've always found it hard, and I think it's taken me sort of a long time to actually feel confident to actually start a conversation with people.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's hard to even start conversations because it depends, I guess, people you're talking with, even if you are confident, because if you're starting a conversation maybe with someone who's maybe like how maybe we was when we were younger, um, I guess we will have we will understand why, but at the same time we will maybe find it hard to what to say as well.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, but yeah, I think education is hard. Like I went to a first of all I went to after like primary school and everything. I went to a a mainstream school for a little while.
Okay.
For a little while. I say a little while, under a year. um seemed like an eternity to me though. um
I get that.
So I was in there for a year. I like it wasn't good at all. No one understood autism at all. But they said they did, but they didn't really. Um, there were situations where I got in trouble for thinking I was doing the right thing. Like for example, I went to a library. Like me and some other people. I went to a library. And we waited about probably 15 minutes, and the helper teacher was with us as well, like the assistant teacher of the class. And then I thought like we were told to go to the library, and then there's about two people, two students, and the classroom teacher in the classrooms. We went back after a little while because we are thinking, hang on a minute, because we can't get in the library because it's locked.
Yeah.
Um, so I was bored. I didn't mind that waiting there 'cause I'm not that I don't really like reading. I'm not the best of reading books and concentration with that. So we went back, and then the first thing like teacher says, where you been? And I say been in the library. Wait, we got told us to go to the library, and then teacher says no, we didn't. And then there's me thinking, what do you mean? Like, there's half the class, half the class are there waiting at the library. The helper teacher's there. And of course, I didn't say any of this because I was really low in confidence at this point. Um, Especially in a mainstream school when no one understood you. Like, it's hard to have confidence, especially with that. And then after I said that, I just said, like, you told us to go to the library, and then you say you got detention. Following morning, the head of year actually, like the head teacher of the year 7, said, "Why were you late?" So brought us out of class, which I didn't think was necessary because I thought it could have been all resolved much better than this because it's not a big issue. If it was maybe someone's running around the corridor causing havoc around everyone, I can understand that. Like it wasted everyone's time. It was, and then but the thing at the time, which now I would say something like the how like this head of year was talking to me, because the talk the like when someone talks to you not very nice, and you kind of
Yeah.
sense that, and it's like the tone of voice as well. So I um I didn't say anything because no one like all of us. I don't think the helper teacher did well, but all of us who were lining out the library were out there. Probably about 5 or 6 of us. And then I'm no one said anything for like, and I think to myself, I've got to say something because no one else is. Um, and so I say, well, I did what I thought was right. Well, no, actually, I did what I was told and what I thought I was told. Because if you think I was going to go to a library and stand 15 minutes for no reason, I wouldn't have. I would have been in a classroom like 2 other students were. And they said, "I'll let you off this time," and in my head I'm thinking, "Let me off for what?" And I said, "All
Yeah.
right, all
It
right."
doesn't it doesn't make sense for them to try and give you detention for something that's not your fault in any way.
Yeah, and like even if I did though, even if I did go there because they didn't, so there might some miscommunication. I shouldn't get told off for it because like people maybe who are autistic may get like not understand the language they're using, perhaps, and they might say it in a different thing, like switching. Like a couple of things happened in mainstream school, but I won't tell you because it's awful a lot.
No,
um,
I get you
yeah,
on that because I was for my whole secondary school I was at a mainstream school, and even if I did have the helpers, there was sort of sometimes some teachers where I didn't have a helper in class, and they would think the way that I was speaking was that I was being rude to them when
mm,
I was just trying to find out information or just speak to them about a subject.
yeah, definitely. And it's really annoying when like you get told off for stuff that like, especially if you're maybe like a good you do all the work you do all the work you're given, and then you're the one still get told off. But I feel like especially in school, like well, teachers normally would pick on, I guess, the people that were good, and like if maybe for once they were distracted, they would get told off for it, when a distractive maybe person who does it maybe all the time wouldn't get as noticed as maybe a person that does a lot of the work.
Yeah, I get you there.
Yeah, but a situation, Luke, in after that, so after the year, I moved to um like a school that had people like autism as well, so more understanding, like so like a SEN school, and what happened is like I really loved it. It was so cool. It was really good, better than mainstream for me. Um, which it was good. And one situation had art, and then after I had this long art exam, that like it was intense because you had to be so quiet for the whole day in an art, and like one little move, and everyone looks at you. Which is intense, but so when it's lunchtime, like the teacher says, it's time to go for lunch. So there's me thinking we're going for lunch, and then I'm in the lunch hall eating my lunch, and then like they mean go for break, and then you get called in for lunch, and which I got told, which so there was a lack of confusion there, and which it's like which I don't get, because I don't know if that happen. I reckon it happens to a lot of schools and stuff where they just say go for lunch, and then that means just go out for break. So I don't know why they don't say just go out for break.
Yeah, they need to be more clear with what when they're giving instructions.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm in for lunch. I, I thought it was a bit. It was a bit weird because none of my friends was there. And then I thought, where's everyone? And like, and then like MDA staff would come to me saying, "Well, Mason, what are you doing in the lunch hall?" And I said, My teacher told me I'm having for lunch," because I thought because exams, maybe people in my year would have early lunch because it's exam kind of season and stuff like that. and
Yeah.
like you would have a lunch maybe on not a normal timetable. So it's one of the reasons I didn't think it was weird. And maybe if there wasn't, maybe it was in maybe this time of year, January or something like that, I would think, hang on a minute, I'm doing something wrong here or miscommunication. But there was miscommunication, and because of this, I think and some other things, I think I was able to get like I think all the teachers autism training um and stuff. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. So did you hear
I don't
that,
know if
Luke?
the no, it froze for a moment.
I was just saying after all that, I was able to get teachers autism training, which was beneficial.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, because I don't know, like I think everyone was well known. I guess like that they were trained, but like just little things like that. If that happened to someone else, it may be just to help other people, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it does sound like it would be better.
Yeah, yeah. But like I guess it's just matter of experience. I guess like everyone like who have autism maybe like mainstream like a school that's for people with autism in it, or not just autism. Like it's just like all different kind of I guess abilities and stuff and differences.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So it's I don't know. Like it 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 helped me with confidence anyway. So good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. So with your kind of like comedy, did you notice that was that always like a interest of yours before like from like I know you was diagnosed at 7, but was that like within school, was you always interested in comedy and like maybe like different comedians that maybe brought you to do what you do now?
So when I was because I studied or I did drama in secondary school. So whenever we did drama, I'd always try and make whatever we were doing be a comedy. And then after I finished school, I went on to make sketches on YouTube and that type of thing, and write sketches. And then, like I said, 6 years ago, it will be 7 years this year. I because I'd already been making all these sketches for such a long time, I started going to comedy nights and watching comedy. And then I thought, oh, I should give this a go, and spoke to someone that was running the comedy night, and then realized I could write stuff about autism and sort of the sketch stuff that I've done before, and then started doing that, and it's been a big interest of mine since.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I guess maybe the first time you done it, like I would have thought you maybe were you a little bit nervous like the
Yeah,
first.
I'm definitely very, very nervous. The first time I did it, I was given 5 minutes. I went on stage and rushed through my material very quickly and did about 2 minutes and got off stage. And I've still been nervous. I still get nervous every now and again at gigs now, but and it took me a long time to not be nervous. And I still, because I don't look at the audience when I'm on stage. That's one thing I've still found very hard, but I do address it when I'm on stage so people do know. Because I've always found it hard to sort of look up and look at one person.
Yeah.
Um, so that's one thing. Yeah, I still look at the floor the whole time I'm on stage.
I understand that. I understand that completely because, like late last year, I hosted a talent show and with people who are like who are autistic as well, but like to took part in it, and like there was an audience, and I wouldn't look at people like this was the first time I made like a little speech at the start, and I struggled to I don't know, I'm not normally nervous with those kind of things. I do podcasts and stuff, but and I've done a few speeches about autism and other things. Just recently, I spoke to, I guess, like it's a bit different. Like I spoke to 80 people on the call, just talking about like sports awareness with people with autism and stuff like that. So it's hard, isn't it, when you're an audience to look at them when you're
Yeah,
speaking.
it definitely is. It is very. I think if I do, even if I look up and all of a sudden can see someone looking at me, it sort of makes me that little bit more nervous if I have looked up. So that's why I try and more look down the whole time.
Yeah, yeah, it's even hard. Like if there's questions like you say you've done like an autism kind of like things like speaking about it, and I guess it's hard when people ask you questions maybe you've maybe never seen before, or like they ask you a question like you're sharing your journey and then you don't know them maybe, and then they're asking you a question and maybe you I don't know like you kind of feel like should you look at them or should you not?
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, that is one thing that when I have done talks before and there's been Q&As afterwards. Luckily, I think the people do realise that I am answering them. I am answering the question. I have sort of, even if I'm not looking at them, I have turned in the direction of the person that has been asking the question, so they know that I am still directing my answer to them.
Yeah. I always feel that video, like if you're doing something like a podcast online like this, it's much easier to maybe not not look at them 100% when you're talking, but like look at them probably more than maybe like a live thing. Maybe at a place. I think it's easier maybe video than like at there, like at the actual place.
Yeah, that's one thing with lockdown with stand up comedy as well. I did a lot of gigs online, and I actually found it, because I'm just sat in the comfort of my own home. I
Mm.
found it easier to sort of look more into the camera, because I know I'm not actually making like looking properly at someone. They think I'm like might be looking at them, but I found it a lot easier that I can still see people on screen, but I'm not actually in the same room as them.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. It's really clever, isn't it? Like you speak to all people around the world, like as well.
Yeah, it's very interesting to do.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's good fun though. I guess like but when you do like if you do talk about autism, but because there's so many things you can talk about, isn't there? Like with autism, like different subjects within it, and it's really cool.
Yeah, no, it's great to be able to sort of go to these things and talk to people, and there might be some people that come up to you afterwards being like, I didn't know anything about autism, and thank you for doing this, because I've learned a lot. It's nice to be able to or speak to people about it and have people understand a lot more.
Definitely, definitely, and it's hard as well. Like like for us to explain it sometimes because
Yeah.
um like if you get a question maybe like I don't know if you get something maybe you're not sure about like maybe a complicated question, it's hard for to answer sometimes because they they might expect you to know everything about autism, but there's something maybe we don't even know.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be confusing sometimes when you sort of get put on the spot with a question that you don't really like. You might know a little bit to the answer, but you might not sometimes know the complete answer to it.
Yeah, like maybe for example, like does autism run in the family for everyone? But I like it's hard because it's and it's definitely really hard to explain it because like everyone's different, aren't we? Like
Yeah.
I think that's the best thing about it, like being autistic that we're different. You're probably more funny than me, but but yeah, you got stuff like that, like, I guess sometimes I think you realise maybe you're funny when maybe you don't realise it, I guess, when you do it. Like, you'll say a joke, and maybe in your mind you think it's not that funny, but everyone laughs, so it must be funny.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing, because I think sometimes with some of my humor I can be a bit dry, and I'm sort of like, is this just funny to me, or when I actually tell it, are other people going to find it
Yeah.
funny? So it can be a surprise sometimes when people are laughing at it.
Yeah, I guess sometimes, like, I don't know, like, you do comedy, like, what happened today, like a scenario, and then just linking it in with autism. But I think that's one of the best ways. But like I think like once Luke, it was before like the pandemic and the first lockdown. I was doing like work experience at like a meat factory, and which I didn't like. I wasn't there long, but the thing about this was I educated everyone there what autism was. Um, and the thing about it was no one knew. No one knew what it was. And I thought that's good, but well, no, not good. It was good for me to educate them
Yeah,
because
of course.
if I went away there, it's hard as well to tell people like intense if people don't know what it is, and like they ask you the question what it is, because they know, they said they know a little bit about it, but not awfully a lot. That So I said my experience is going to be different to someone else, and their experience is going to be different to me. But what I did say was, I find it like at the time, and I find it hard to maybe ask for help. Um, because do you find that like sometimes, or do you find it hard to like ask for help if you need it, and you just think I don't want to ask because it might bother someone?
Yeah, no, I've definitely had that before in previous jobs and just in life as well. Just worrying that if I ask someone that I'm going to be too much for asking for help.
Yeah, it's not like, especially like with work, like maybe like if you're doing like some work at school or uni, or any environment where you got to write paper, um like you're struggling and everyone knows what they're doing in the class and you don't, and then you feel like you ask for help maybe, and they say, give it another go. Like, that's what I felt a lot. Like, to say, try again. I said, oh yeah, I've tried. I can't do it. And then sometimes I think, hang on a minute, maybe you don't know what you're doing to help me, perhaps. And then you don't say that, of course, but you think
Yeah, yeah.
it. um, because I don't know, it probably comes across as rude, but you think that, don't you? Like, why can't you help? Or like, either like, I understand if it's one time, but if it gets two or three, you kind of think that.
Yeah, what were you saying? If you ask, if you worry about if you're going to ask multiple times, that
Yeah,
they're just going to think, oh, why do you need to keep on asking? But it's just because you want the help and you want someone to just understand that you
yeah,
need that help.
and then they wonder why people copy people. Yeah, and then I admit I've done that, because especially in some things I don't know, like because there's, if autistic or not, we're gonna know stuff I'm not so sure about, or stuff we do, um like like me, for example, that like I could talk about something for hours and someone get bored, and I still talk about it. And then there's another thing, maybe like for reading, I'm really good at reading. I can spell, I can do all that. But when it comes to a book, reading in a classroom or something like that, I'm not there. I'm somewhere else. Like it's not the fact that I don't like it. Well, it might be the fact that I don't like it, but it's about I'm not interested in it.
Yeah,
So if we're reading and like there's like Sam jumped off, put on a bike and rode around the hill, I get bored because I like it. I guess I'm more of an audio person. Better if it's read to me, but very
yeah,
fast, like, but not a slow pace. Like, in school, like where they read so slow. Um, and I'm thinking, oh, we're not going to get to the next.
yeah. You only get one page in the whole lesson.
Yeah, yeah. I thought I was thinking to myself, we could have been half. This could take 2 lessons top to read this. And then the good thing is when the questions come along, um, it says in the question, go to chapter 35 and read from page 16 to 18, and then you pre-read, and then you see what's in the question. So Sam, how many times does Sam go across the hill? And then you go see where Sam is and where's Hill, and you get your answer without reading it at all. That's what I did a lot, because
Yeah,
I found it so much easier. And what I was thinking, I was daydreaming a lot, but not because I guess I was distracted, but I was just thinking, hang on a minute, I might want to play Last of Us when I get home, and and then think, hang on a minute, Joel hasn't. Oh yeah, I just got past the clicker bit. I wonder what's going to happen next.
yeah. You're thinking more about those things, and then instead of
Yeah,
what's in front of you, which is
yeah,
think
yeah,
about the thing you really want to do.
yeah. And the intense thing is when you're doing that, like a teacher spots that and says, Mason, so what? Like, they've asked me the question already, and then they're at the end of their sentence, and I haven't processed the first start of the sentence, and they ask me, and then I'm thinking, what? I'll say, "Can you repeat your question?" And then they say, Weren't you listening?" And then I say, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." That's what you do, don't you? You're not gonna say no 'cause to
Yeah,
everyone.
you have to say yes.
Yeah, you can't say no. Like now, I probably would. Like for like maybe humour because I don't know about you, Luke. I imagine so because like you like your humour. Like I always like to pull a joke in class just to make everyone laugh. I guess to distract it a little bit if I was bored, but I just found it like it lightens everyone's mood.
Yeah, no, that's how it was in uni when it came to asking questions, whatever, or being asked something. I would always make a joke just to sort of make other people in the class laugh.
Yeah, it was funny. It was funny because like if I at the point where if something weren't even funny and you still laugh. Just those little things, and then I don't know. It was just fun times. Um, but it's good that you continue to do that after, like, maybe that will bore it on, perhaps, where you just did those little jokes in class, and then you thought, hang on a minute,
Yeah,
I could do this like all the time. Go to different places, say jokes, like about like autism and stuff. What jokes have you like kind of said like maybe like within autism, Luke?
it's more just talking about. So it's a lot of talking about my life experiences and work.
Mhm.
There's one joke that I have about being a postman and not autism and postman not being the best thing because when you knock on someone's front door, you're not looking up at them, and you might ask if they're the wrong name or whatever. So I've wrote jokes about that, about how I've been treated in other jobs, but I also just wrote about little silly things that happened in life. So it's a mix. Like a lot of my jokes, I know a lot of people have sort of very punchy, quick jokes, but a lot of my jokes are more sort of story based that lead on to something more.
Oh, that's good because you can I get everyone hooked. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, maybe better than like a short joke perhaps where it won't last that long and then you think, oh, what am I going to say now? Because it's lasted so little time, and then like you say, you could spend maybe 45 minutes talking about the same thing, like
yeah,
within the story. I think like that makes sense because you see a lot of like comedians do that, don't you? Like they'll do exactly what you're saying. Like they'll do like a story that's gone in during their life, and then they'll adapt on it, and then I think yeah, it
yeah.
like
It's good. Yeah, it's good to find those things that sort of like I can write jokes about silly stuff as well. But I think I prefer being able to write those jokes about real life stuff.
yeah, like stuff that's happening now, like in the world
Yeah,
and stuff like that, like making serious stuff funny.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really good. I think that's really good. Like so do you like is that one of your interests like gaming and stuff like that? Is it like you said you like playing Last of
Yeah,
Us
yeah,
and stuff?
gaming is one of my big special interests. It was a sort of lockdown. Like I'd always been to gaming, but then there was a game that got released during lockdown called Dreams, where you could make games inside of it.
Ooh,
And I somehow spent um, I think it said it was 900 hours or something,
wow.
without without meaning to. I think it was in 1 year, just on the yeah, just playing this game, creating games on it. So that was one thing. Gaming's the thing that I love. I loved it a lot. But yeah,
Yeah,
finding something that I was able to create games in as well during lockdown was very fun.
definitely. I think that sounds really fun because it's like a game. Well, with games, like I'll get a game. Like for example, maybe I get FIFA every year. When it comes out, I've got it. I'm first person get it. But what I do is I play it. Let's say I play it for a good few months, and then I get bored because it's the same thing. And then I'll play a different game, maybe a story game, and then another game I like will come out. Then another game I like will come out, and then I haven't completed the other games I got. So I get really kind of invested in it. Like I want to continue this game, and then I can't because another one's come back. Like I just get like that.
Yeah, I'm very like that. I'll get one game, and then if another game has come out 2 weeks later, I'll start playing that, and I will forget about the other game without meaning to. And then it will be sort of 4 months later, and I'll go, "Oh yeah, I remember getting that game. I'll go back to that finally."
Yeah, because it's about like I love a story game. Um, like I'll play it like you see as we record this, like the Last of Us series is going to go on, and you see loads of people like replaying the games. Um, so like I think it's good. I think that's really good. That I would like to see more things like that. Like you play a game, and then it turns into a film later.
Yeah, no. So there's been I think there's been a few film game adaptations, but there's been some that are a little bit messy and aren't as good. But I feel like The Last of Us has got sort of as good as we could get it so far.
Yeah, well, I've seen those videos where they do it side by side screen where you're just seeing the
Yeah,
game within what it happens in the series, and I'm thinking, wow, I didn't think it was that accurate, and like the museum looks exactly the same
yeah. The
as in the
museum
game.
was looks so good.
Yeah, and the clickers, oh, I think the clickers are the same clickers that are in the game. So
Yeah, they brought back the two voice actors from the original game and got them, and then the people that are actually playing the clickers are people that were fans of the game.
oh, that's awesome.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, and also, I don't know if you know, but like the Ellie's mum is going to be played by Ellie in the game. So
Yeah. When we get a flashback,
yeah,
we actually get to
yeah,
see
yeah.
the
That's so
original
awesome.
person.
That's so awesome that that's all been done. Because like it's really cool how they do it because I think the voice actor who played Joel in the game is playing a part in the series as well for something. But it's really cool because the voice actor who played Joel in the game has also played it's Nathan Drake in the Uncharted series as well.
Yeah. I think his name Troy Barker.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think or Baker or
yeah,
Barker. I think
yeah.
yeah.
And you don't recognize it because really he doesn't look anything like Joel.
No,
Does
it
he?
doesn't at all.
And you can see the resemblance with Ellie in the game, with the actor. So,
Yeah.
um, and yeah, it's really cool how they do these kind of things, and but, like really clever with the graphics and stuff. And the like the world, like yeah, super cool. And can't wait for the rest of the series, Luke.
Yeah, very excited for it.
Yeah, but yeah, it's been really awesome speaking to you about everything like hobbies, where to autism to comedy. It's been really really fun.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah.
It's been great to be honest.
And before we go, if you wouldn't mind, if you have like any last words or any advice maybe for other people, like just to finish.
I think for me, it's always been that always found I never know how the best way to give advice, but I'm just saying if you are autistic and you're sort of scared about the world or sort of how things are going to be for you, just know that there are like things out there to help, and that there is a great community of people that are autistic as well that just want to that will speak to you about your special interests and do want to be friends with you. Yeah, so that's my little bit of advice.
Yeah, I think that's great because it's good to meet friends. Like I think like by doing this kind of stuff and like go to different events, you meet friends, and yeah, like we'll have to let each other know about The Last of Us or what our thoughts are and
Yeah,
the rest of the series. And yeah, well, we made another friend today, haven't we? Like in each other, so we've done all
yeah,
right.
it's very good.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Luke, and to everyone seeing this today. We hope you enjoy it, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, Luke.
Thank you very much.